From Doughty Hawkins Gymnasium and Pekin Community High School, Clutch Sports Media and WMBD is on the air for a Big 12 and Mid-Illini crossover showdown alongside Teddy Ball. I'm Gavin Russell. Teddy, a couple of big schools going at it this evening. Pekin 4A, Richwoods 3A. Big matchup, big showdown, a lot to watch here.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Can't wait. There's a lot of great players on both sides. For Pekin, you got Matthew Juergens. For Richwoods, you have Jared Jackson, Jared Jackson and Tavy Smith. Those are the two we were talking about before the game, before everything started. So those are the two base level that I'm looking at, but it goes way beyond that, Gavin.
Sure does. There's a lot of great players up and down both lineups, and you start talking about Richwoods, very dynamic team. They're in the midst of a very good season, 14-3 on the year. We saw them just a few days ago as they took on Normal Community, took one of their 3 losses, but overall they've been a very solid team.
They have, and the game we saw against Normal Community, you could argue they played a lot better in certain categories than Normal did. They were very good at finishing or driving to the rim. It was hard to finish against a team like Normal with you have a center that's 6'9". It's very difficult, but with a team like Pekin, who is a little bit shorter on average than Normal Community, we'll see how that translates for Richwood.
You got to look at things like that, but on Pekin's side, even though maybe don't have quite the same size, they do have a lot of dynamic players also, and you mentioned one of them, Matthew Juergens.
Yeah, Matthew Juergens, he's been crazy all season long. A lot of big moments for him, and I'm excited to see what he does today.
They can do a lot. Pekin trying to come out. They've had a couple of tough losses out of recent, as has Richwoods in their last one against Normal Community. Both teams looking for a big win. We've got all the live action for you here on ClutchSportsOwl.com and CIProud.com. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back for all the basketball action, ClutchSportsIL.com.
Sam Lehman of Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in the Midwest. Shop during our Big Finish sales event and save on brand new Rams in stock. Plus, take $10,000 off our brand new Ram Bighorns. And before the year end, earn tax credit on our brand new Jeep Hybrids. Looking for a bit of muscle? Try out our brand new Dodge Challenger or Charger. Limited supply and final production year. Hurry in before they're gone. Only at Sam Lehman of Morton.
Back here in Doughty Hawkins Gymnasium alongside Teddy Ball, I'm Gavin Russell. Got a minute and a half on the clock before we'll get our national anthem and starting lineups are about ready to go here. Again, a big-time crossover. Get the Big 12 and Mid-Illini, 2 conferences that we covered a lot, Teddy, both football and basketball as well as other sports. It's always fun when 2 teams match up like this because in the respective conferences, both are very tough. Of course, Mid-Illini having a great year, Big 12 having a great year, but gives you just a little bit of a different perspective, a different style, and I think that's going to help both teams and the rest of the way.
I agree, Gavin. And one thing we talked about was how both these conferences are very competitive, but they're competitive in their own different ways. For the Mid-Illini, it's very competitive all the way through. A lot of teams are close in rankings, Pekin at 5th at 9-9 with a chance to go over 500. And for Richwoods, they're at 5th at 14-3, so a chance to continue and get their 15th win just to get into the 4th. It's very tough conference for both of them in their own respective ways.
Both teams have had a tough time with conference play. Again, close losses. Again, Pekin lost a couple close ones in the conference, as has Peoria Richwoods. We're going to get set here just in the moment for the national anthem as the cheerleaders head to the floor. A good crowd on here at Doughty Hawkins on a Tuesday evening. We're glad you joined us here on ClutchSportsOwl.com and CIProud.com. WMBD Game of the Week. We're going to take a quick break here for the national anthem. We'll be back for starting lineups. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
High School Dragons. Tonight, the Dragons host Richwoods in a non-conference matchup. In the spirit of sportsmanship and the IHSA, please make sure we are doing what is right. Caps and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem.
It's time for basketball from Pekin. Thanks for joining us. Get the starting lineups here for you momentarily. Richwoods will be introduced first. They're in their black jerseys, the green trim, green and gold trim. Their starting lineup will start as such. The senior guard, Markel Newsom, wearing number 2. Very dynamic part to this squad. He'll be joined out there by number 4, Tavy Smith, the junior. Another junior, number 5, Jared Action Jackson, as they like to call him around Richwoods, will be another guard. Greg Burnside, the quarterback, also starting for Richwoods basketball squad as well. And rounding it out with another football player, the forward senior, number 24, Sabri Quadam. Nice lineup there for Will Smith's group. 14-3 on the season. Looking to continue it here tonight in a non-conference matchup. How about for the Pekin Dragons? They'll start with Houston Roberson III, starting at forward, the senior. Number 12, Current Clark, the 5'11 junior guard, wearing number 12. Number 20, Peyton Hess, 6'4 sophomore, so bringing a little bit more size there. Number 21, Daniel Cash, presuming the brother of Adam Cash, former Pekin High Dragon. Rounded out with 35, the 6'4 junior forward, Matthew Jurgens. Kind of taking a quick look at both of these lineups. Teddy, again, neither bring extraordinary height, but a lot of athleticism, kind of just well balanced on both sides.
It is. Like we said before, we got the chance to see Richwoods play against
Normal Community.
Normal Community. I blanked there. We got to see them play in a lot of very high athleticism plays. And from what I've seen from Pekin as well so far this season, like we mentioned, Matthew Jurgens, Trey Roberson. They got some shooters with Current Clark and Daniel Cash, so should be a good matchup on both sides of the ball for each team.
Got to make the necessary adjustments, though. It's a game of runs, and both teams are capable of going on. The ball is tipped up and won by Matthew Jurgens of Pekin. We're underway. Getting started. You have to bring it across the timeline. Now they do a double team. Early defense from the Knights on the floor, and we'll get a jump ball, so it's going to go right to Richwoods. Not a good start if you're the Dragons.
No, it's not, but it's a great showing of defense for Richwoods. They did this a lot against Normal Community. We bring up this game a little bit, but it was a great showing of how they play. Although they came up with the loss, a lot of great moments offensively, defensively, and it shows that they're really good at doubling, and that's one of their key parts on defense.
They did double team a lot. Again, they had a size disadvantage in the last game that they played, as we'll often reference to here tonight. Got to find ways to get it done otherwise. Pekin out here in a zone. Here's Smith will step into a jumper out. It's Newsom. Newsom for 2. And Richwoods on the board early. What do you do, Teddy, to break this double team? They're showing it right there at the half court.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to move the ball around like they do there. Try to get the ball closer in. Can't just float around that half-court line.
3 on the way. Oh, bounced in and out. Rim's not favorable right there. Current Clark almost had the three-pointer. Smith over to Newsom. And tipped away, turnover forced. Something Richwood struggled with a few times this season has been the turnovers. Passing had been good the last few times. Jared Jackson tips it out. We'll talk about Matthew Jurgens as he gets the ball there. He's capable of throwing down some big dunks, Teddy.
He is. Yeah, I think a lot of people see him at base value. You see a high athleticism guy, but he goes a lot farther than that. He's a great leader for the Pekin team. Leads them to 9-9 so far in the season with a chance to go over 500 here tonight.
Would be a big turn of events. Another 3 on the way, just off the rim. Couple of close ones from Current Clark. Clark, a junior. Pretty young Pekin lineup, as is Richwoods. Richwoods has 8 juniors on their varsity squad. So we'll see a lot of this team back next season.
That's always a great thing to build chemistry for your team over time.
It is a great chemistry builder. That one builds the lead right there from Tavy Smith. He was up for nomination for Peoria Journal-Star Player of the Week. Saw earlier, Adam Duvall listened some of the best from the area in the past week. Smith has certainly been part of that. Jurgens throws it up, can't get it to go. Save there. .40 our score early on.
Richwoods doing a really good job at limiting the shooters here.
And a foul will go on Jared Jackson. Suffocating defense is the only way I could describe it. Just get into a point where you just feel trapped, nowhere to go. That's where they've kept Pekin so far. They've had a couple of shots off, just haven't fallen. Here's another three on the way. That one air balls. Stolen away, though, by Jurgens. Up and in. What a tough take right there. So second chance points on the steal, and then gets it to go.
Really just snuck in there. I don't think Richwoods was even saw him down there. I didn't.
He's hiding amongst the shadows. Dottie Hawkins rims. Three on the way from Newsom, no good. Bounced around, and they're going to say he was out of bounds. Jumps up to about the 5th row. Fortunately, it didn't take out anybody sitting down there. We play on. Just crossed the 5-minute mark. Nice trap right there from Richwoods. Nearly stolen away. Another foul. That's going to go on Jared Jackson. That's his second foul of the game. And again, a deep bench here is you may be able to see in some of the shots. Richwoods has a lot of players on their bench, but you never want one of your starters out with 2 fouls.
Yeah, 2 fouls in the first quarter. Don't want to get in foul trouble, especially with a player like him. Want to keep them in for the 4th, maybe even overtime, depending on how the game goes.
Got to limit foul trouble up. And nice defense right there from Newsom. Cash wasn't able to get the shot off cleanly. Louderman checks into the game for Pekin, or rather for Richwoods. And Richwoods gets that bucket to go from Sabri Quadam. Trying to move the ball up across the half court. Lots of passing here. Another 3 try, and it goes. Pekin knocks down their first 3 of the game. Took them 4 tries, but they finally get one. 6-5 game.
Sometimes that's all you need. Once you get that first one to fall, maybe the rest follow.
And another steal right here. That's their second of the game. Jurgens takes it. Now they'll work it up. No double team comes this time. Richwoods likes to vary the defenses quite often. Jurgens drives in, but it's stripped away from Newsom. Here comes Newsom over to Burnside. Nice pass and 2 points. Again, neither team really gaining a ton of ground, just kind of back and forth, but that's the basketball that we've come to know and love.
It is. Markel Newsom having himself a quarter so far. Got an assist, got a steal, got some points.
You love guys that can do everything. You don't just specialize in one area.
Yeah, one guy to do that. The whole team plays like it too, so it's always a plus.
It's making his team better. Another 3 try from Pekin, no good. It was on the way from Daniel Cash. 1 for 5 in the game from beyond the arc. First quarter going by fairly quickly here. Over 5 minutes played.
Only 2 fouls so far.
Both are gone on Jared Jackson, who's on the bench, one of the starters for Richwoods. Sits with 2 fouls, likely for much of the rest of this half. Newsom pulls up for 3. He got it.
He continues to have success early in the first. He's one of the big parts of Richwoods' offense so far.
5 points for Markel Newsom, leading all scorers early on. Jurgens up the floater, can't get it to go. Roberson with the board. Throws it up, and a jump ball. So it'll be a 3rd chance opportunity. Nice job right there, making something out of nothing. And we'll have some subs here for both sides. 3 new Dragons check in, a couple new Knights. Javen Moore in for Richwoods. Pekin brings in Dom Hawkins. And that one's tipped, and it's going to stay with Pekin. Dom Hawkins, about the same height as Matthew Juergens, but plays a little bit bigger down there.
He does. He really, I think everybody on the Pekin team overall, they have, I think, 11 players over 6 foot. Maybe not any of them up in like the 6'9" range like some other teams, but overall pretty decent height team, but so is Richwoods. They size up pretty evenly against each other. But Dom Hawkins, like you said, plays bigger and he gets a rebound there.
Gets the board, no second chance opportunities, drives inside, up and in. The rim favorable that time for Daniel Cash. Cash gets his second bucket. Ties Markel Newsom with 5 points in the game. Pekin still trails by 4. There is Newsom, tipped away, nearly stolen. And a foul is called, nearly had the steal. Markel Newsom kind of taps his chest, says, my bad. In for Richwoods, Jernell Etherly. And Juergens will take a seat on the bench. Connor Martin checks in.
Both teams with really deep benches, as we can see from up here.
Like to have options, especially at the high school level. Guys able to prove themselves. Up, Tavy Smith, the block, and one. Smith will add on to that Richwoods lead. Again, showing why he is one of the better players in the area. Getting a nice and one opportunity right there.
Early in the first, so far we've seen Pekin has had a lot of the possession, but Richwoods has made better opportunities from their possession, and that's why they're up.
Just under a minute to go in the first quarter. Chance to extend the lead to 7. Either team with a huge momentum shift so far, a lot of back and forth, and he does complete the and one. Old-fashioned three-point play. 46 seconds to go. Teddy, I ask, what do you do here? Do you hold for the last shot? Just play for what you get?
I think you hold a little bit, and maybe try to get a shot off, or you try to go for 2. There's a good chance you can get another ball back, but it's not the end of the world. You're not going into half. 7-14 is the score.
And they're not going to even get a shot off. This ball is stolen away. Trying to get a stop on the other end. Back to Smith for 3. He hits it.
Very consistent from the arc so far for Richwoods.
They've hit a couple threes down there. And now Smith is the leading scorer. He's got 8. 10-point lead. 4 seconds, now 3. 3-pointer on the way. Airballed, can't get it to go. And that's where we'll leave the first quarter of play. 17-7. A couple of big threes from Tavy Smith has got the Knights up by 10. We're going to step aside for a quick break. We'll be right back here on ClutchSportsAl.com and CIProud.com.
Sam Lehman of Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in the Midwest. Shop during our Big Finish sales event and save on brand new Rams in stock. Plus, take $10,000 off our brand new Ram Bighorns. And before the year end, earn tax credit on our brand new Jeep Hybrids. Looking for a bit of muscle? Try out our brand new Dodge Challenger or Charger. Limited supply and final production year. Hurry in before they're gone. Only at Sam Lehman of Morton.
Tonight's game is also sponsored by Zach Butler, State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance need, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You can give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. Thanks to all of our great sponsors for tonight's game. WBD Game of the Week on CIProud.com. Also streaming the ClutchSportsIL.com. Thanks for joining us here. 17-7 is where we start things out at. In the second quarter, Richwoods will start with the ball. Jared Jackson comes back in for Richwoods. He has 2 fouls, so something to keep an eye on. Early foul trouble for the junior starter. Pekin not able to get much of a flow on offense. Richwoods is hitting some tough shots. That one's no good. Pekin will try to get this down to single digits.
Pekin switching it up a little bit here in the second. Connor Worrell comes in. He has not played at all so far this season. Maybe he played Saturday, I'm not sure, but he is coming off injury before the season, so it's good to see him back in the lineup.
Added boost to the lineup. You want to have everybody at full strength. Gets it to Jurgens, now wide open for three. Can't get it to go over the backboard. Current Clark has had a few open looks. Clark, a junior. Again, sometimes when the shots just don't fall, you can get a little discouraged, but just got to keep shooting.
Yeah, I think they've seen that the paint presence so far has not been there, so they're trying to shoot from the three. But like we said earlier, for Richwoods, they started off a little slow from three, and then they made their first one, and it's been hidden.
Shooter shoot. Matthew Jurgens checks back in. Just a 55-second break for, I would say, undoubtedly Pekin's best player. Many would agree. Pekin will go to a bit of a zone here. Zone defense is one of those things that can have a big effect, Teddy. You just got to be able to execute.
Yeah, obviously you've seen the effect from what Richwoods has done. They've switched up their defenses quite a few times, and it leaves the Pekin offense in disarray so far. Hopefully they can get back into it.
Got to vary the defenses, make teams adjust. They got a turnover on the last possession. Stole it from Louderman. Clark thought about a three, nothing doing. He'll dribble out with it, back to the Dragon logo. Now to the other way, Clark shoots again for three. He can't get it to go. Hasn't hit all but one from out there. Here's Jackson. Markel Newsom drives in. Tough bucket right there, 12-point game.
I think one of the reasons Richwood's seeing a lot of success is they're not focusing primarily on the shot. They're letting the shot come to them. It seems like Pekin's forcing some shots, and hopefully going into the half or the later part of this second quarter, they can clean that up a little bit and try to move the ball around to different areas.
No shot clock in the IHSA yet, except special tournaments and whatnot. There's another three, can't get to go. Clark gets the board. But you have time, you can make a good decision. Don't need to force anything. So far, just not a lot of open shots. Much more credit, though, to the Richwoods defense for just hounding Pekin so far. Clark gets it down to the low post. There's an open shot from three. He got it. Patient possession that time, ended up working out. Got a nice catch and shoot three. That time shooting it was Connor Worrell, and as you mentioned, hasn't really been playing much this season, but makes a big impact here early on.
Yeah, it's always nice to see any players coming back from injury or battling injury. As Markel Newsom hits another one there. He's been all over.
9 points, nearly in double figures for the senior. Richwoods playing a bit of a 2-1-2 zone. Throws it up and out of bounds. And a line change here. Both teams will get some subs in.
Checking back in for Richwoods, Greg Burnside. We talked earlier about the two-way players that play football, basketball, even some players that play some baseball as well, like Trey Robertson plays baseball, football. At least he played baseball last year for Illini Bluffs, but it's always fun seeing players that can do it on different fields, different courts.
No doubt, adds a different layer to your team. Guys that are able to be conditioned nearly year-round. They bring other skills from different sports. Worrell drives in, and no call, but it's a charge. Would have had a 2 right there that would have got it back down to 9. But it looked like he had good position. Nice call by the referee.
It's a great look from Sabri Kadum. Put your body in front of him. Although sometimes it might lead into points, but right there leads in his favor.
And you mentioned two-way guy, Sabri Quadum, a football player, a linebacker. He's got no problem putting himself on the line. Goes right into the trenches, but he's blocked away by the Dragons. Jurgens got a hand on it. He thought about a 3, got the man to pump fake, throws it up, can't get it to go. Tipped around, and it's going to stick with Pekin. One thing I've noticed about Jurgens, he's just fighting for every single possession.
He always does. He finds a way to a lot of people say like he can do it himself, but he also finds a way he can give it to his teammates and find open shots, find open players. Always looking for a way to get the team on top.
And an offensive foul right here, so it'll go back to Richwoods. Fouls haven't been too much of a problem, Teddy. Just 6 combined fouls. There has not been a foul on Richwoods in the entire quarter. It's been probably about 10 minutes of this game that we haven't seen a foul on the Knights, so pretty clean both ways. Personally, I'm a foul of not calling all the little ticky-tack stuff. And a charge, so speaking of fouls right there, right on cue, we get another charge. Maybe I should just stop talking about it and let them play on.
Yeah, you jinxed it there, Gavin.
The broadcaster's jinx coming in right there. Unintentionally, of course, but still awfully low foul affair. Now just 7 combined, and we've got 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's a 10-point lead for Richwoods at the end of the first quarter. Here's a 3 on the way. Got it to go again. Dom Hawkins. 8-point game. Dragons hanging around. Lots of time left. Here's Smith. He's got 8. 3-pointer on the way. Other side, airballed. Up they go. Cash throws it up. Can't get it to go off high arc. And a timeout will be taken here by Will Smith's group.
I believe that's the first timeout of the game as well.
We're going to get a quick timeout here. As you mentioned, first timeout of the game. We've seen from either side. Tell you about Zach Butler's State Farm in Pekin. For all your insurance needs in the Pekin or Central Illinois area, you can give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. Appreciate Zach jumping on board for tonight's contest here on clutchsportsisle.com and ciproud.com. Talked about Will Smith taking the timeout right there for Richwoods. A couple of legendary coaches. Longtime coach of the Richwoods Knights program, Will Smith. Done some good things for them. And then how about on the other side, former Bradley basketball player, Pekin native Jeremy Crouch. So a couple of really well-versed coaches going at it tonight.
Talk about well-versed coaches. How we talk about the name of the gym. It's named after a coach.
Dottie Hawkins coached here. Saw online considered one of the best strategic defensive coaches nationally ever. Got the gym named after him. There's a 2 right there from Greg Burnside. A lot of great history, though. Pekin Community High School. Speaking of Dottie Hawkins, love playing in this venue, love calling games here. Without a doubt, the biggest gym in Central Illinois. High school gym, that is.
I think it is a very awesome gym. I think you could probably make an argument for Normal Community or Normal West. They have some long and tall stands.
The one thing that sets it apart here that I haven't seen at too many other schools is 3 sides of full bleachers down at Bloomington High School as Juergens finishes a nice one there. Bloomington High School, they do have some bleachers along one of their baselines, but it's very small. Here at Pekin, you've got 3 full sets of bleachers. Pretty full tonight, I must say. Something unusual, but
one almost exclusively for the fire pit. They always show out.
Student section down there, occupying the first few rows. Trying to give them something to cheer about are the Dragons. Roberson drives in. No foul call. A couple bodies hit the deck, but he can't get it to go. Burnside on the defense.
Maybe looking for another charge there. Refs have called him a few times already.
Letting him play on pretty good, though. Under a minute to go here in half number 1. Newsom can't get it to go. Rebounded. And Juergens comes the other way with it. Over to Roberson. Back over, 3 on the way. Schaefer can't get it to go. Tipped away back to Richwoods. 40 seconds. Newsom hits Smith, the 2 leading scorers for the Knights, and thrown out of bounds, looking for Sabri Quadam. So far, Tavy Smith and Markel Newsom combining for 17 of Richwoods' 23. I mean, talk about a dynamic duo. They're showing out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, even from the tip of the ball, Newsom has set his set in stone that he's been a key factor this game and for this team. And yeah,
not much else to say. He's been really good.
Lost for words.
Lost for words. Got our own Teddy Ball speechless with his performance so far. A lot of pull-up jumpers. Pekin would like to cut this under 8, though. 10 seconds to go. Smothered. 8 seconds and a timeout by Jeremy Crouch. It's all of 8 seconds. Plenty of time to draw up a play. Big momentum shift right here, Teddy. You're down 8. That's definitely a manageable amount, but you can get this down to 5 or 6 with this possession. Head into halftime, that's going to do a lot for your momentum.
Yeah, I mean, once Richwood stopped doing the double team press, it seemed like Pekin's offense was flowing a little bit. Still struggling a little bit on holding Richwoods on their the defensive side of the ball, but you know, now with that last possession, Richwood's going back to the double team, so we'll see how they can adapt. Matthew Jurgens passes in.
It's just a quick 30-second timeout, so got his guys on the same page. They'll inbound it here. Back to Jurgens. 6 seconds now. He'll slow it down. Finds their man. Throws up a prayer at the horn and got it! Big time 3 that's going to get the crowd fired up.
What a shot by Tate Schaefer. That's a buzzer.
Tate Schaefer hitting the bank 3. Gotta say it was a bit of a prayer, Teddy, but hey, shooters shoot. Got a big one right there, and that's what we'll leave the first half. 23-18. Teddy, it was kind of a back and forth first half. Richwoods controlled quite a bit of it, but not a whole lot of momentum going both ways. It's just a 5-point game.
Yeah, I think, like you said, 8-point game could cut it to 5 if they got the shot off, and they did barely get the shot off. But how about some momentum for going into the halftime? Like a big shot like that can set in stone how you're going to play the second half of the whole game.
Can take the momentum into the locker room, but it is a game of adjustments, so we'll see what both teams can do to adjust here in half number 2. We're going to have a 15-minute halftime here. Looks like we might have a special performance by the Pekin High cheerleaders and or dance team, so we're going to step aside for a few extra minutes. We'll have a few commercials here for our great sponsors to show you here in just a few moments. But that's where we'll leave it for the first half. We'll step aside for a few and come back with some recap of the first half and all the action in the second half. Don't go anywhere. You're watching ClutchSportsIsle.com and CIProud.com. Pekin and Richwoods. Richwoods leads 23-18 at half.
Your career today at Royal Publishing.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
The Jansen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Involved in an automobile crash? Take out your cell phone. Touch #4 and you reach the Jansen Law Center. You have the power and experience of the Jansen Law Center behind your claim.
Jay Jansen. One name says it all.
Sam Lehman of Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in the Midwest. Shop during our Big Finish sales event and save on brand new Rams in stock. Plus, take $10,000 off our brand new Ram Bighorns. And before the year end, earn tax credit on our brand new Jeep hybrids. Looking for a bit of muscle? Try out our brand new Dodge Challenger or Charger. Limited supply and final production year. Hurry in before they're gone. Only at Sam Lehman of Morton.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
Are stuck in ditches. It is a rough one this morning outside, folks, and this just in, school has been canceled for all of our viewing area.
Your next snow day, sponsored by Bond Eye Associates.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
The WMBD Extra Effort Award, recognizing high school athletes at the top of their game on and off the field.
This week's Extra Effort Award winner is college-bound basketball player Sophia Remmel, a top student athlete at Dunlap High School.
I've always wanted to do something pediatrics. Specifically, I want to be a NICU nurse. I just want to help people.
The Extra Effort Award, every Thursday on WMBD News at 6. Submit your nomination at CIProud.com. The Extra Effort Award on WMBD, sponsored by OSF Children's Hospital of Illinois.
Welcome back to Dottie Hawkins Gymnasium on the campus of Pekin Community High School. Clutch Sports Media and CIProud.com, and WMBD is ready to go for some second half basketball action, a Mid-Illini Big 12 crossover matchup. Richwoods on top right now, 23-18. Pekin winning with a little bit of momentum. Finish out the first half, a buzzer beater 3 by Tate Schaefer, banked it in. Has the Dragons surging a little bit. We'll see what both teams can come out with. We'll get into a little recap in just a moment, but let's remind you of our great sponsor tonight, Zach Butler, State Farm in Pekin. You can give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or online at sfbutler.com. Appreciate Zach jumping on board with us tonight and supporting local high school athletics. Teddy Ball and Gavin Russell on the call tonight. Teddy, it was an entertaining first half. Neither team really solidified itself as being overly in front, kind of back and forth, but overall, just solid basketball.
Yeah, it has been. Richwoods, they were up by 8. A few seconds left in the second quarter. Pekin was able to get it down thanks to Tate Schaefer's buzzer beater 3. But great game from both sides. Pekin tried to figure it out a little bit more in the second quarter than they did the first. Richwoods, I think they know what they saw, like what was successful for them, so definitely keys for both teams there for success in the second half.
And you mentioned some keys to success. Give us a couple for each team.
Well, for Richwoods, I think they just got to keep on putting the pressure on Pekin's offense. The doubles they've had early in the first, and even they started later on in the second. Obviously, we talked about them switching up the defense, which worked, but Pekin started to get a little bit more of a rhythm second quarter, and so they went back to that double, and it seemed to work. Also, play off the hot hand. You know, you got two guys that are playing really, really good so far, combining for 17 points of the 23. That's great momentum for them offensively, and also they're doing great defensively, like we mentioned. But I'm specifically talking about those two players. Newsome, he's been probably the best player in this game so far. He's having a great game. 9 points, got a couple steals, couple assists. So that's what I got for Richwoods. As for Pekin, I think you got to play off the momentum you just had at the end of that quarter. Obviously, you've been trailing so far, but that's definitely a way to get back in and to keep riding off that hand.
No doubt about it. You mentioned some leading scores for both teams. Newsome's been really good with 9. He can hit some big pull-up jumpers. Really just shoots from just about anywhere. I mean, guarded, not guarded, he's shooting the basketball.
I think a lot of Pekin guys are trying to do the same thing, but it hasn't been, at least early first, late first, early in the second, because they weren't able to keep up, but they started to find their rhythm a little bit now.
You got to play your own game as we're underway here in the second half. Make your own adjustments. Don't got to match the other team's style of play. Just got to control the game, see what you can do. In that regard, we'll see if Pekin can keep the momentum going they had in the first half. Richwoods can make some adjustments to extend out their 5-point lead. We'll find out. Pekin gets the first possession. Force some shots at times. Need to be patient. That's when they have their most success. Richwoods' defense has been very good, though. And nearly hit out of bounds. It is going to be out of bounds. Roberson grabbed it on the sideline. Peyton Hess tried to throw it up off the leg of Greg Burnside, but nothing happening.
Smart thinking there, but sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Turns it over on their first possession, so Richwoods likes the way things are starting out. Here's Jackson over to Burnside for 3, short off the iron. Roberson grabs the board. Throws it up. Jurgens can't get it because it is tipped away there by Tavy Smith.
Way to avoid the fans out there.
That's the second one we've seen, Teddy. A couple of Richwoods players have had to jump up into the crowd. I think I'd consider moving. Maybe up to the upper part of the bleachers. Working with it, nowhere to go. Trying to avoid a 5-second call. Jurgens picks up the tip, up and fouled. We'll see if this goes on. Jared Jackson has 2 fouls out there. It is going to be on Jared Jackson. That's his 3rd. Only player in foul trouble. perhaps the only player with more than one foul in this game.
We've said a few times throughout, it's been very clean, but he does have 3, so you got to watch that.
He's one of their closest on-ball defenders. Plays a point guard role. And Louderman will check back in for the Knights. Jackson will take a seat. Teddy, back on Friday, Pekin hit 11 three-pointers at East Peoria. They haven't had the same fortunes, but we know they can hit some threes.
Yeah, they can. That game was entertaining. Me and you were watching that when it happened, obviously. Great game with a great outcome for you. You
know, I enjoy watching Raider basketball, but Pekin's a fun team also. Pekin's playing teams close, though. They played at the Morton Shootout. They played Peoria Manual. Came up short in that one, but when they're playing high-level competition, you got to feel like it's just a matter of time before they really lock in.
Yeah, like the record right now, 9-9, in a tough Mid-Illini conference with a lot of tough teams they've played. Like we said, this win, if they get a win tonight, it'll put them over 500, and that's a lot of momentum. I talked to Dom Hawkins earlier this week, and I asked him, the two losses they've taken in the last week, and how do you build off that? And he said a big win here can gain momentum for the team, and that's all they need.
They're only 1 point short of the lead right now. Richwoods was receiving votes in state 3A rankings in the past week. Here's Newsom again, pulls up and hits it. They extend back out the 3-point lead. Pekin's starting to feel it, though. Some full court pressure here. Here's Jurgens streaking down the floor. Thought about pulling up, thought better. Little head fake, up and in. Nice job right there from Peyton Hess. And timeout, Pekin.
It's a great move by the sophomore.
Hess with a little head fake. Caught the man jumping a little bit. And suddenly it's a 1-point game. We had a 5-point game coming into the half. Teddy, you mentioned some of the keys kind of riding that momentum for Pekin. So far, the Dragons have done a really good job, and they look a lot more confident out there.
Yeah, it's early in the second half, so anything can happen. If Richwoods gets back into the swing of things, they can go back up. Or Pekin, if they keep playing like how they're playing, maybe they go up. But to this point, no signs of any team pulling away.
Richwoods a very good team, 14-3. They won the tournament up in Rockford around Thanksgiving. They played in this very gym, the Pekin Insurance Holiday Classic. A lot of great teams in that. I believe they were the consolation bracket champions. They fell short in their first game, but went on to win the other 3 they played. So they're familiar with this gym and this school. And Louderman turns it over, can't hang on to it.
One of the other keys I didn't really get a chance to mention was I mentioned Richwoods, the double teaming and how it's been really successful so far. But for Pekin, their ball movement in the first half was kind of to their detriment, at least in that when they were going against that scheme from Richwoods. And so far they've battled that, and that's probably one of the reasons why they've gotten back in the contest.
Getting more open looks, not turning the ball over.
Not forcing shots.
Exactly. Pekin's starting to figure it out a little bit. 1-point game. Richwoods hasn't had much success offensively, just 2 points to 6 of Pekin. And a foul right there. Going to be called on Markel Newsom. Hard to believe, Teddy, we're almost kind of in the home stretch of the season here. IHSA playoffs, no more than a month away. Some big games, though, down the stretch for both sides. And a 5-second call right there. Jurgens couldn't get it in bounds. Richwoods coming up after this game. They play Urbana at Urbana. They'll host Peoria Central. That should be an entertaining crosstown rivalry showdown. They'll go to Centennial. They'll take on MacArthur, Champaign Centennial, East Peoria later in the season. So some big ones down the stretch in their last 10 games or so. Pekin has several left on the Mid-Illini slate. Pulled up right there, Burnside.
You mentioned big games left to play for both sides, and like we talked about before, both 5th in their respective conferences. So despite the record difference, either team getting a win here could be just as important.
Again, you like to play for conference seedings, bragging rights, I guess you could say. You always like to win your conference. Feels good to do so, but what really matters is what comes around to playoff time, and Pekin, of course, plays in 4A, the only Peoria area team outside of Bloomington Normal to do so, which is obviously just a different animal, as we've seen. Includes teams like Normal Community, Moline, Quincy, some great teams. Just want to get a good seed, a lot of momentum heading into that. Juergens nails 2 free throws, still a 1-point game.
Pekin getting their own half-court press now.
Little copycat, but breaking it are the Knights. J.D. Etherly comes in and breaks the press, gets a layup. Here's Juergens. Driving inside, back out to Juergens for 3. He hits it, and it's a tie game, 29 all. Dragons have started to hit some shots, and they're warming up.
We talked about it at half. It's just 5-point game then, and although neither team doing anything drastically bad, but Pekin just following the keys that we laid out.
They are, and a foul right there, so probably the loudest we've heard the crowd tonight. A few people get on their feet. They do call this place the fire pit for a reason.
Pekin's playing well. A little loud now too.
Yeah, when Pekin's playing well, this place can be some great energy for any team. Tough job for a road team to quiet down. Richwoods will try to change that, gain some momentum back in their favor. And an offensive foul right there. Juergens doesn't like the call. A little bit of a bump on the handoff. Richwoods will take that any day.
Especially when it's 29-29 with 2:41 left in the third. And one team has a little bit of momentum on them. Definitely you'll take that.
So now the momentum meter swings back to neutral. Such an interesting thing about basketball. It can be a tale of 2 halves, tale of 1 quarter.
Tale of 1 possession. It changed so fast.
A lot can play out just a few seconds or minutes of a game. Lately it's been Pekin, under 3 to go in the third. The Knights are looking to pick it up a little bit. Newsom, leading scorer, he's got 11. Can't get 2 more, and it's going to go back to Pekin. Soaring in right there was Marlon Herron. Keep in mind, though, Richwoods has been playing out without one of their senior starters, Jared Jackson. He's got 3 fouls in this game, so maybe a little bit off of their normal flow, having to get some different guys in there.
That's true, but maybe you bring him back in the 4th. He's just the key you need. Probably not the smartest thing to bring him back in the 3rd. You don't know if he's going to foul, but you don't want to risk it, of course.
Got to play it safe, especially in close games. Nearly stolen away by Newsom. It is poked away. On the floor, body's hitting the deck. All day to pass it out. Couldn't hang on to it. Lots of ball movement for Pekin. Martin, Schaefer all touching it. But up and in, this time is Whirl. And it's a lead for the Dragons. We're going to get a quick stoppage. It looks like Burnside hit the floor. He's laying down there. Looks like in quite a bit of pain. Hope he's all right. Trainer will check on him. But Connor Whirl, going back to that last bucket, gives Pekin the lead and feels a little unceremonious because, of course, they want to make sure Burnside's all right first and foremost. But Whirl having a big impact.
He has. He got 5 points now. 31-29 now for Pekin. Juergens still on the bench. It's great to see someone step up there. playing really well as a unit. Burnside steps back up.
Burnside will limp off under his own power. Hopefully he's all right. Maybe twisted an ankle real bad. Burnside will head to the bench. Now Markel Newsom will bring it up, but hey, Pekin's got the lead.
They do, but now Jared Jackson is back in the game. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. Could be a whole nother factor for Richwood.
Perhaps the Burnside injury kind of prompted Will Smith to bring Jackson in, kind of out of necessity almost. See if he can kind of turn the corner for the Knights. All Dragons here in the third quarter. They lead 31-29 at Dottie Hawkins. Jackson trying to take it himself. Kicks it out to Heron. And Heron's bumped right there. It's going to be Schaefer picking up the foul.
When we went to Richwoods, Heron was introduced, I'm pretty sure, for the first time on varsity. He's a sophomore. I remember that when they were calling out the line. So he's been in quite a bit. Sophomore making an impact.
Certainly has. And stolen away by Pekin. And recovered. We'll slow it down, no hurry. Just over 30 seconds to go. Heron, though, a sophomore, getting some good reps here. And 30 seconds down. Do you play for the last shot, Teddy?
I say you do. You've noticed throughout the game, forcing a lot of shots has not been good for you. It's down in the paint.
And foul not going to go on Jared Jackson. He was in on that play. Probably got fortunate that he didn't pick up his fourth foul right there. It's going to go on J.D. Etherly. So break for the Knights. 22 seconds, though. Juergens not on the floor. Who takes the last shot?
Well, Juergens is passing in, but...
Oh, rather, Juergens is passing in. Good call.
But, hey, maybe you give it back to Tate Schaefer. We hit the buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter. And it looks like they do.
And a travel.
Wow.
Tough break right there. You know, Juergens has just been hiding out in the shadows so much. He had a steal under the basket in the hoop earlier in this game. Stealth mode down there.
Maybe Richwood's thinking like how we are. He seems like he's always in the game. He goes out for 30 seconds and he comes right back in. You don't even notice.
Now he's out of the game. He'll take a seat for the last 18 seconds, presumably. Richwood's trying to tie or take the lead before third quarter gets over with.
Hope he's coming back up to the scorer's table.
6 seconds now. Steps into a jump shot short. Ball's bouncing around at the horn. Nothing's going, and Pekin will take the lead heading into the final frame of play, 31-29. We've got a ball game, folks, here on ClutchSportsIsle.com and CIProud.com. We're going to take a quick break for our great sponsors. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Kick off your career today at Royal Publishing.
Are stuck in ditches. It is a rough one this morning outside, folks, and this just-in school has been canceled for all of our viewing area.
Your next snow day, sponsored by Bond Eye Associates.
Also like to thank Zach Butler, State Farm in Pekin. Give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. Thanks to all of our great sponsors here on Clutch Sports Media and CIProud.com. Wouldn't be possible without them. We've got a ball game on our hands, though, Teddy. 31-29. Middle Illini's own Big 12. Middle Illini's own Pekin trying to take down Richwoods' own Big 12 in a crossover showdown. Get you the lineups to start here in the fourth. Newsom out there with Jackson, Quadam, Smith, and Burnside. Burnside back into the game after taking a tumble earlier. Here is Smith right on cue. Jackson with the second chance, and That's why he's key. He can fight and do those little things. 31-31.
I bet he's thankful he didn't get the foul at the end of the third. Like we might have thought he would have, but he's got 2 more to spare for the rest of the fourth. He's been big for him.
Nearly hacked away. Save, but it's out of bounds. Jurgens can't save it. Helped up by Smith. Got you the Richwoods lineup. Now the Pekin lineup. Jurgens is out there, along with Daniel Cash, Peyton Hess, Current Clark, and Trey Roberson for the Dragons. There's Quadam on the screen. Newsom, leading scorer in this game. 3-pointer on the way, though, from Smith. Can't get it to go. Hess gets the board and gives it back to Jurgens. Nearly fell backwards. Jurgens fighting inside, and he's fouled by Tavy Smith. Not a fan of the call. Richwoods just seemed to have kind of gone away from that double team, full court pressure. Maybe think about bringing it back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been their bread and butter on defense so far this game. I'm not sure why they're steering away. They have, like we talked about them switching it up defensively every once in a while, but it seems like when they have that double team scheme in, holds Pekin down on offense, but maybe they will bring it back.
Jurgens gives Pekin the lead, their second lead of the evening. Didn't lead until the third quarter. They've led by as much as 2, which it stands right now. Here's Newsom. Gives it off to Jackson. Jackson drives inside. Tough take and 1. Jared Jackson. Give Richwoods the lead with a free throw.
It's going back and forth now. Late in the third and the fourth, it was like this. 6 minutes to go, Gavin.
6:46, chance for the lead. Gets it to go, 3-point play. 5 in the quarter, 5 for the game for Jared Jackson. He's had some foul trouble, but he's making his presence felt now. Here comes that full court pressure. Hess drives up with it. Shut down, nowhere to go. And stolen away by Newsom. Goes up with it. Fouled and 1.
We talked about that early, the athletic plays, and Newsom's able to get it done there like he has all game long. He's been one of the key pieces for Richwoods, along with Tavy Smith and Jared Jackson when he's been in.
Exactly. They've been huge, but Newsom's standing out among the rest tonight. 2 straight possessions, 2 straight 3-point plays for the Knights, and just like that, their lead's up to 4. Crunch time is where you got to really make things count. There's that full court pressure. He gets out of it. Kicks it over to Roberson. Here's Jurgens again. Hands it off to Hess. Nowhere to go with it. And he's fouled right there. Tough call. A lot of pressure. Tavy Smith picks up the foul.
That's the downside to putting a lot of pressure on defense like that. But I think it evens out when you got a 4-point lead.
And in the bonus now, the initial bonus for Pekin, they'll shoot 1, try to earn the extra. Hess, first free throw up, nothing but twine. And for Pekin, of course, they look to control a lot of the third, maybe the first minute or so of this fourth quarter, but you really can't afford to have Richwoods get on a big run.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, we talk about Richwoods' defense, but Pekin is kind of feeding off that themselves because what they've done so far with their successful runs is they've slowed the ball down, and when you play defense like that, it forces them to play fast, and so Richwoods been able to pull ahead midway through the fourth.
3-point lead. Here's Newsom. Oh, miscommunication with Sabri Quadam. Throws it out of bounds. And again, as you mentioned right there, defense turns into good offense. We'll see if they can do so. 3-point game. Bringing it up is Cash. He'll give it back to Juergens. Juergens throws it up and draws the foul.
Although he does get the foul there, I think, like we said, we can maybe slow it down a little bit. It seemed like he rushed that really quickly. If there wasn't a foul, I would have dunked off the front of the rim.
As soon as he heard the whistle, threw it up right there. Maybe a smart choice. Either way, he's shooting free throws on the foul. It looks like they did indeed say it was on the floor, so it was 1 in bonus, but he hits the first anyway, so he'll shoot 2. Second one is good for Juergens. He's up to 17 on the game, leads all scorers. Markel Newsom of Richwoods has 14. Here's some pressure, slips. Tavy Smith up his Burnside, blocked by Hess.
Snatch block there.
Gets it up and away, rips it down, and they'll get it over the timeline. Here comes Juergens, over to Cash for 3. Can't get it to go. Burnside hauls in the board. Very close.
You can feel it a little bit now in the arena after that shot attempt. Everybody stood up in anticipation, but didn't fall.
A little bit of urgency, crunch time. Under 5 in the final frame. Newsom, he's been hot tonight. He's gonna be patient with it. No hurry for him. Newsom moving around with it. Richwoods players kind of just stationary.
I think if you're Pekin, maybe you follow Richwood's scheme and play a little bit tighter on defense.
And timeout here from Will Smith, and Richwoods nearly tipped away. Roberson thought he was coming in for a steal, but Jackson recovers. He's got 7 in the quarter, 7 for the game. Definitely turning things around, 3-point lead.
Yeah, I bet you're happy he didn't foul out because he's coming in the 4th and late in the 3rd, and he's made an impact.
Impact player without a doubt.
How about these jerseys from both teams?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just thinking that, kind of looking at both huddles. So you get a look at the Pekin huddle right there. Much sleeker white jersey, but I got to say, just the nice red and black striping down the sides, just a really clean look.
I agree. As for Richwoods, we talk about the green trim, but it really looks like neon, kind of makes it pop.
Get a look at them here as they head out of their huddle. A neon green, yellow, gold kind of combination. I got to say, though, I'm a fan of just the black base jerseys, kind of a stealth mode, blackout feel. A lot of teams are doing that nowadays.
Black jerseys always look awesome. Unless it's gradient.
It's true. That's very true. Richwoods is rocking their black jerseys, though. Pekin will inbound. 3-point lead for the Knights. They get it in.
Really guarding up on Juergens there.
Juergens
sure he doesn't get the ball.
Getting a lot of attention. He's got 17 in this game, guarded by Tavy Smith. Nowhere to go with it. Got to avoid a 5-second call and a timeout from Jeremy Crouch. Didn't like what he was seeing right there. Nearly a 5-second call, close guard.
That would have been Juergens' second 5-second call of the game, so really smart timeout there by Crouch.
Of course, Jeremy Crouch, former Bradley basketball player, played on that 2006 Sweet 16 team for the hometown Braves. He knows a good thing or two about good basketball. Some of his former teammates also in the coaching game nowadays. Daniel Ruffin at Peoria High. Not coaching, but definitely not coaching high school ball, I should say. Coaching some AAU ball. Marcellus Somerville. He's in the area. Saw DeMonte Williams, former Illinois Fighting Illini, in the building. Great thing about Central Illinois hoops, just kind of runs through and through, generation to generation. Just keep coming around.
I think in the smaller area, too, you got to stick around. You got to support. Not immense talent like there is a lot of other places, but when there is, everybody comes out and everybody loves it.
Just great competitiveness. Never really disappoints with River City hoops, Bloomington Normal hoops. And 5-second call. Can't get in off the inbounds. You mentioned there's his second of the game. Costly turnover.
Can't be doing that with 3:59. Still plenty of opportunities left in the game for each side, though.
Got to limit turnovers, especially in crunch time. Here's Jackson, and he's fouled on the floor. Not in the bonus yet, so they'll just take it sideline out of bounds. That one goes on Trey Roberson. One more foul, and they'll be in the bonus. Jackson up and in right off the inbounds. Maybe caught Pekin ball watching a little bit right there. 5-point game, and Jackson 9 in the quarter.
You say Matthew Jurgens-esque, the way he was sneaking around to get that ball.
Roberson, three-pointer, can't get it to go. Follows his shot, throws it back in. Saved by the Dragons, and a blocking foul will go on Richwoods, so it'll be one in the bonus again. And this time shooting it will be Connor Worrell. And Benassi in for the Dragons. Haven't really seen him much tonight. Coming off a great football season. Wide receiver, catching passes from Scott Jordan, play next to Kanye Tyler, Tanner Sprecher, the semifinal Dragons, who had a great football season. First free throws up from Worrell is good.
Make this next one cut it within one possession, at least.
Free throws are key. Pekin's been good there tonight. No different. Worrell will check out for Hess. How about 7 points from him? Haven't not played much this season with some injuries. But really starting to step up. The key for Pekin down the stretch. Benassi guarding up closely. 2-on-1, numbers, and foul. Jackson will go to the stripe. Really haven't had an answer for him here in this fourth quarter. 9 points in this last frame and a chance to go into double figures. Really a different presence out on the court.
I think both teams' scorers look, it's kind of odd. I think you look at it, you look at the two leading scorers for each team, Matthew Jurgens and Newsome, and then Worrell and Jackson, the two guys that, you know, you maybe weren't expecting to go and put up the numbers they have, but they've been an impact for their teams respectively.
Jackson up to 11 now. Worrell's, you mentioned he had 7, but hit some timely buckets and a couple free throws as of recent. Need some timely buckets, though, if you're Pekin. Need some timely stops if you're Richwoods. 5-point game. It's where we found ourselves at halftime. Pekin held as much as a 2-point lead. It's been pretty close the whole way. Jurgens trying to go somewhere with it. Hess pulls up for 3. Got it. Peyton Hess, 6 points now.
Just like that, it's within 2. Maybe you put Tate Schaefer back out there. Oh, he is out there.
Schaefer sneaking around too, but sneaking up and in. Jared Jackson, 13 for the quarter. Here's Hess, stripped away by Newsome. Who else? 2-on-1, goes straight up with it. Off the iron and in. Timeout Richwoods. And a quick little run right there puts them back up by 6.
Wow, just 10 seconds ago we were talking about the Pekin score, and then boom, right back for Richwoods. That's what they've done all night. They played very, very well at keeping the lead.
they can score in a hurry. Unfazed, Pekin again played really tough in the third quarter. You could say they won the third quarter. But Richwood so far has come out and been the better team in the fourth.
Despite leading in fouls, too.
Yeah, Richwoods has picked up a few more fouls, but that's the brand of basketball they like to play. They like to pick up, really play some heavy defense. Seems like they've had their most success now, kind of reinstituting that full court pressure. Worked well in the first half. They kind of went away from it. I wonder if that's almost just to kind of see what else works, maybe just kind of throw Pekin off a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the way I think about it is early on, you need to get a good lead, able to keep the pressure on Pekin, but once you see a little bit of the fouls popping up, maybe steer away from it, and that's when Pekin started to have their success. Now they brought it back late in the fourth where, although fouls matter, but when you have some time to, or some fouls to have, or fouls to spin, I guess, you can afford by putting that defense on Pekin again. That's what has gotten them in this lead.
They will pick up that full court pressure. 4 Knights across the timeline trying to pick this up. They give it back to Juergens. Got to get it over. Don't want to turn it over. Now he's face guarded by Tavy Smith. Gives it over. Benassi. He tries to drive right. Nowhere to go. Newsom cuts him off. Picked up by Juergens. Tipped away. And into the backcourt. They're going to call over and back, but it was tipped, it looked like. Pekin can't believe it. I think they might have a case there, Teddy.
Yeah, that one's hard to deny. Jeremy Crouch on his feet. He's a little upset about that one. So are all the Pekin fans here as they boo.
It was close. I think in real time, to me, it did not look like an over and back because the ball was tipped, but the official making the case the ball bounced before the timeline, which would then in turn make it an over and back. Quadam goes up with it. Can't get it to go. Under 2 minutes to go. Pekin needs to score. Juergens has it. Guarded very tightly. Up, no call, a lot of contact. Other way we go. Jackson has it. He'll go up, dunks it. Fast break transition. Gets the Richwoods faithful on their feet. 3 on the way, no good. Here we go the other way. More fast-paced basketball. Newsom up. No. Quadam blocked away. Back to Jackson. Under a minute to go. What an exciting few possessions. Back and forth all over the place. Pekin needs the foul or make a force a turnover. 46 to go. And finally they foul, so now it'll be 1 in the bonus for Richwoods.
That dunk from Jared Jackson. It's one thing to score, but when you get a dunk like that, not only does it bring energy to your team, but it just depletes the other team. And depleted this gym, that's for sure.
Threw down a bit of an exclamation point. Really just kind of a tough turn of events there for Pekin, who, again, maybe got a bit of a questionable over and back. Can debate out on it all day. Doesn't change anything. Smith goes 2 for 2. 10-point game. Pekin will try to get something going here quick. Over to Benassi. Back to Hess. Hess pulls for a long 3. No good. Ripped down. Saved. Over to Juergens in the corner. 30 seconds. Fights up and in for 2. 26, now 25. Timeout Pekin. Going back to those last few possessions. Pekin threw up a shot. Rebound just came out, and a couple of Knights were ready to get out in transition. Again, that's where they make a living. Pekin's done a nice job kind of holding them at bay in the transition game. They capitalize right there.
Yeah, those last 2 fast breaks, Richwoods was able to get the guy out in front, and obviously the first one landed in a dunk. The second one I think it got blocked, but they did get the ball back.
Yeah, there was a dunk up and down the floor. Ball was tipped around. There was a block. That's fast-paced basketball. Richwoods plays quite often. Pekin a little slower, but they can turn it up at times.
You got to give a lot of credit to Richwoods, and like you said, Pekin plays slower, but a lot of times when they were speeding up, it was not necessarily their choice, but Richwoods applying that pressure on them to have them speed up. Being a little uncomfortable.
Here we go, 25 seconds, 8-point game. Hail Mary down the court. Smith just going to hold it. Pekin not fouling. Passing it around. Looks like they're just going to be content to let the clock run down to 0. And that should be the ball game. Tipped around. And that's going to be all she wrote. Richwoods escapes with a close one on the road. 51-43 the final score. Big fourth quarter from the Knights. And they pull away with a non-conference victory, move to 15-3 on the season. Pekin, on the other hand, will fall to 9-10. And just a string of close games they fell short in. Teddy, some initial reaction here. Pekin held a lead of 2 at one point. Pretty close all the way. Richwoods just with a late burst gets them the victory.
Yeah, like we said, all game long, it was the defense for Richwoods was their key. They had some offensive scorers. Jared Jackson and Markel Newsom, obviously big contributors with 15 and 16 respectively for each person. And Tavy Smith had 10 as well. So they had a few guys able to step up there in crunch time. As for Pekin, you lose your last 3. Still competitive Middle Illini that you can make a case for. You got a lot of the season left. Both teams can learn from this.
Lot to learn from indeed. And again, come down the stretch of the season. Definitely a lot to learn. You find out a lot about your team, how you can play in situations, and got to think that these close games are going to make Pekin get it better when they're playing in the playoffs. Certainly hope so. If you're a Dragons fan, if you're a Richwoods fan, you like to see them pull away here in crunch time. We'll step aside for our final break of the game. We'll be right back here on ClutchBoardSal.com and CIProud.com.
The Jansen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Involved in an automobile crash? Take out your cell phone. Touch #4-LAW and you reach the Jansen Law Center. You have the power and experience of the Jansen Law Center behind your claim.
J. Jansen. One name says it all.
And for the final time, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Zach Butler, State Farm and Pekin. For all your insurance needs, give Zach a call at 309-347-3115 or at sfbutler.com. A few final remarks here. Some final lines for both teams. Again, 51-43 final is your score. Richwoods pulls away at the end. How about some leading scorers? It was Markel Newsom who led scoring most of the game for the Knights. Finishes with 16. Jared Jackson comes in on fire in the second half despite some foul trouble. Finishes with 15. Tavy Smith with 10. And then for Pekin on the losing effort, Jurgens, without a surprise, leading Pekin in scoring with 19. Whirl adds 7. And several other Dragons adding a few buckets, under 10 points, but spread out scoring. Again, looking at some upcoming games for both teams. Richwoods got Urbana. They'll travel down southeast, I should say, take on the Tigers in their next one. They'll host Peoria Central at Champaign Centennial, and they'll play Decatur MacArthur at a neutral site in their next 5 games. As for Pekin, they've got some big ones coming up as well. They'll play Dunlap at home in their next game, so a big conference one. They'll head to Washington, host Morton here, and then head to East Moline United Township. So 3 conference games right there. Very good UT out of East Moline. Definitely some things you want to look at, but overall, Teddy, some closing thoughts for you.
I'm excited to see what both teams do for the remainder of the season. As for Pekin, they've played quite a few home games early in the season, so they're probably going to be on the road. The 3 road games you just mentioned, I believe, it might have been 2, but they definitely have a few road games to come up. So it's interesting to see how they play on the road. And for Richwoods, not to say I told you so, Gavin, but Jared Jackson, like we mentioned, I said at the end of the 3rd he could be a big factor in the 4th, and that he was. Richwoods 15-3, very competitive conference. The fact that you can be 14-3 and still be 5th ranked in your conference is crazy, but they move on. Impressive win. Definitely built off the strengths that we saw in the normal community game. So
sure did. Turned it around, and they're able to come out with the victory tonight. 51-43 is your final score. We're going to wrap things up here for our great crew tonight. Josh Messenger leading the controls, controlling the ship, doing a nice job for us. Patrick Huber on camera tonight. Our own Jonathan Michael roaming the sidelines, taking the pics. Got the social media going for you. Can't wait to see what he comes out with, so stay tuned to that. And Carter Sullivan did some nice job, getting some nice stuff, so stay tuned to our Instagram and Twitter channels. We'll have a lot there for you in the coming day or two. For my broadcast partner, Teddy Ball, I'm Gavin Russell, signing off from Pekin. Richwoods comes in and gets a non-conference win this evening. We'll have more big action coming up for you later this week. Stay tuned. But for now, that's all from Pekin Community High School. So long, everybody.